with you about how you can find your confidence as a business owner and coach. I had a client who had this question today in our Facebook community about how can you figure out how to remain true to yourself even when you're seeking guidance from an expert or a business coach or something like that. And a lot of times I think the biggest frustration that people run into is that there are so many different methods you can use to run your business. There's different methods in terms of what platform you should be on. Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it Facebook? In terms of the funnels that you use and conversion tools, do you use sales calls or webinars or challenges? What's the best method? There's also a lot of conflicting advice on how you should price yourself and what you should sell first and how you should sell it and the way that you should sell it. And I feel like it can get really confusing and muddy for you to find yourself within business. And I very much feel like being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is a personal development journey to the max. And a lot of people, maybe you watching this, I know me, you want support and guidance, right? You want to get a shortcut to success. I know anytime I invest in a mentor or in a coach or in a program or in a course, I'm looking for what information can I get immediately to move me forward. And then you want to make sure that whatever you're investing in and whatever support you're getting also reflects what you want to be doing in your business, right? And you want to feel like the decisions that you're making are your own. That is exactly how it feels, right? Yeah, it's like muddy water. It's like there's so much muck, there's so much information. And so I want to I think what will be most helpful for you watching today is to kind of break down how my journey has gone, how I've learned to trust my own instincts and my own intuition, which can be difficult sometimes, right? Because if you are someone who's in a program or has a mentor or has a coach or who's leaning on friends and family to give you advice when you're running your business, it can be hard to make a decision for yourself and know it's the right decision, and also know that maybe it conflicts with the person who's giving you advice. And that can feel really weird. Story time. Yes, Val, story time. So I'm going to I wrote down some things about my journey. And over the past 2 years that I've been doing this full time, have tested out a lot of different methods. And I think that's the first thing when it comes to finding your confidence as a business owner is realizing, I heard this on a training that I was on this morning, your business is a laboratory, right? This is just one big science experiment. I always look at my business as a really fun school project that I get to do every single day. And so there is no right or wrong answers, and we cannot penalize ourselves for testing things out, because a lot of times the reason why we penalize ourselves when we do try things out is because in our mind, we're running out of time, right? I love that analogy. Thanks. Yeah. And so in our mind, we're running out of time, but in reality, we're not running out of time, And so that's it. But anyways, I also love that our business is a laboratory, so we get to experiment. So I want to break down some of the experiments I went through and help you see the thought process that I had, so that way I could figure out what I was going to include in my business and not. Takes the pressure off. It's not about getting things perfect. It's about exploring, testing, and having fun. And literally, Val, that is my biggest takeaway from running a business. And even my team members have had to bring me back to that, because there have been times where I'm okay, I'm going to try out this new strategy. I'm going to try out this new offer and see how it goes. And it goes horribly wrong. And I'm oh my gosh, I regret this. This was not great. And my team is always no, we learned we don't want to do it that way, or your audience doesn't respond to that. So for example, when it comes to funnels and launching and systems like that, I've done everything. I've done challenges, I've done masterclasses, I've done live launches, evergreen launches, all of the things. And anytime I implement a new strategy in my business, I am okay, I'm going to commit to this for 90 days at least. And that is one of the rules that I follow, is if I can, let me try this out 90 days, see how it goes. So you'll even remember, if you've been following me for a while, there was a period of time in the end of the year last year where I was doing masterclasses every single month, because I wanted to see, do I like this strategy? Does this strategy convert? How does this strategy feel for my energy? And so I think the first rule of figuring out your style, your sales style as a business owner, how you like to do business, is first testing things out. But then after you test things out for 90 days, looking back and saying, what did I like about this? What did I not like about this? How did that feel when it came to my energy, right? Last month, I switched away from doing my masterclass model and I started doing sales calls again. And I realized like I have way more demand than I thought for my offers, which is amazing. But I was doing way more sales calls than I needed to in a single week. And it was really tiring. And so that's just like the things we want to assess. And it's the same for everything, right? Like I've sold in the DMs and I've sold on sales calls. I've sold without ever getting on a sales call with someone in the $1,000 packages. That's fine. I know I can do it. I've sold to people who have, maybe just followed me and I've driven the conversation to a sale. I've sat on the sidelines and waited for people to reach out to me to make a sale. And like in those times, again, I'm like assessing what felt good, like no noise, right? And maybe sometimes if you're like me, I don't know how much you guys know about human design. I'm a projector. When I'm like understanding things about myself, I like to talk to people, but not really to get their opinion, just to get a sounding board. And so sometimes like, I just have to talk it out and think, okay, well, did I like messaging those people who hadn't expressed an interest yet? How did that feel on my energy? What was the result that I got from that thing, right? And it's kind of like deciding your own as a business owner is finding the balance of what's converting, what's working. And so that means having a good understanding of your data. When I was doing DMs, like heavily to figure out if I liked that strategy, I was tracking the number of conversations I was starting. I was tracking the number of replies that I was getting. I was tracking the number of calls that I booked and the number of calls that converted. And so I knew that that method worked and the conversion rate was really high, but I also knew it was really energy. So I thought, okay, what if I spent my energy in other places? What do I like doing? I like content. I like being on video. I like connecting with people. What if I connected people on a day? And then I started to do daily lives, right? I was going on Instagram live all the time. And so I didn't have to be in the DMs all the time. And like, yes, that worked, but also drained my energy in another way. And like, even with pricing, like I've had offers like my 9 to Freedom offer, it's been $1,500. It's been $4,000. I've been trying out different things to try to see like what works with the market, what works with my energy, what feels good to sell. I've had intensives that are $88. I've had intensives that are $1,200, right? And so it's about experimenting and exploring. And another great analogy that I can give is like being a business owner is like dating. And if you had never dated a person, you might kind of know what you're looking for out of a relationship. But, the best way to figure out what you don't want and what you want is really by figuring out what you don't want, right? And so it's the same thing, like you're dating your business, you're dating these different strategies. But I think the biggest mistake people make is they don't commit, right? And so like, if you're going on a date with someone, and I'm married, so who knows the last time I dated, but if you're going on a date with someone, you're not going to go into that relationship thinking, well, this is going to be another one that fails. Well, maybe you are, but hopefully not, right? And then like you're committed to it, right? You don't know how it's going to end. You don't know if it's going to work out, but you're committing your time to it. And it's the same thing with strategies in your business. And I think the biggest mistake people make is falling trapped to the shiny objects that are presented to them, the workshops, the masterclasses, you could do this in less time, instead of just committing to 90 days to getting something done and just seeing if it works. And that's been a theme for me over the past couple of months. Like we're not doing things to see if it works. We're doing something until it works. Unless, here's the big caveat, unless it doesn't feel good, unless it's draining, unless it makes you anxious, right? Like there's other ways around that. And so when it comes to like focusing in your business, in reality, if you want to grow to be $1 million coaching business, $1 million business in general, what you actually need to do is spend 1 year focusing on 4 areas with one focus. You need to pick one market, not one topic that you're going to talk about. And I've made this mistake too, and we're in the process of fixing it. Like not saying just marketing and sales strategies I help people with, but one kind of person. I saw this awesome training about this person and how he niched down, and like that focus on one person is going to shift the game. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, aren't I going to push people away? Aren't I going to exclude people? And I've been telling my clients this for an entire month now, since like I've had new ones enroll. And I'm like, yeah, push people away. Help one specific person until you get to 1 million. And then your second million, you can help everybody. And I used to say like, be a specialist, not a generalist, which is still very much true. But you almost want to be a specialist so that way you can become a generalist. I want to specialize in service-based business owners. I want to help you build amazing businesses. I want to help people have thriving coaching businesses. So that way, one day I can go on and impact the masses and inspire the masses and do things like that, right? Like this is our foundation. So that's one. And you want to focus on one offer. The offer that got me to my first 6 figures was 9 to Freedom. And I just committed to that. One platform. I focused heavily on just selling selling on Instagram, one conversion tool, sales calls, right? And so if you set that as your foundation, if you're like, I'm going to pick one market, one offer, one platform, one conversion tool, whether that's sales calls, selling in the DM, selling by masterclass, selling by challenge, if you commit to that, that sets your foundation for where you seek guidance, right? So if we come back to finding your own as a business owner, make that decision first. Decide the model that you want to work with. Do you want to do group coaching or do you want to do one-on-one? If you're going to scale, I'm going to recommend you do group coaching, right? But like, what does that look like? Do you like doing sales calls or would you rather be behind the scenes and selling in the DMs? Because the thing is, every one of those things that I've mentioned is going to work for somebody. You can do any of those methods. It comes down to, do you like doing it? And are you willing to put in the work to make it convert? I can convert a masterclass. I can convert a DM. I can convert a sales call. And so now it becomes up to me to figure out which one I like best doing and what do I want to commit my time to. And that's why I say, like, if you know those 4 core areas, now when you're seeking support, when you're seeking guidance, you can find people who are going to elevate you in those. Are they going to elevate your ability to close a sales call? Are they going to elevate your ability to land clients on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or the one platform that you're going to commit to growing on? Because that is also how you're going to start to shut out the noise of all the people with all the different opinions and all the different advice. And I say, like if you, like I said, if you want to hit 1 million, commit to that for a year and you will. Because what happens is you have to spend your time perfecting your systems instead of getting distracted by everyone else's systems. And take it from me, I'm someone who got distracted by the systems. You know, I've tested out so many things over the past 2 years, and that's not wrong, right? If you're someone who's in the process of seeing all the shiny objects and feeling overwhelmed and you're just trying things out, it's okay. Your business is a laboratory. This is a learning experience. But I will say, the faster you fail in that, the sooner you'll be successful in everything else. And I think that's one of the things that ended up working out really well for me. As I tried things, I realized that I committed to them so hard, right? I'm talking like 30 days, I'm only doing this, 90 days, I'm only doing this, whatever. I committed to them so hard so that way, so I could fail really fast, figure out if it was not for me or not, and then figure out how to optimize it. I also talked about this on a 9 to Freedom call that I had earlier this week, but when you're picking projects to focus on in your business, a lot of people are like, oh, I did a launch, that was cool. Now I'm going to sell a course and I'm going to sell it evergreen, or, oh, I did a masterclass, that masterclass was cool. Now I'm going to try to do sales calls, or now I'm going to try to do a 5-day challenge, right? We just go from thing to thing. But instead, what you want to do is first say, okay, is this thing efficient, right? If I run this masterclass, does it convert clients? And if the answer is no, we want to keep doing that masterclass until it converts clients. We want to find out what's going wrong. Is it the messaging? Is it the pitch? Is it the people on the call? Like, how deep does this go? Then you want to make sure it's effective. Hopefully that's what I said. Then you want to make sure it's efficient, right? Like, it's doing it a lot. Like, every time you do a masterclass, you know, you're going to sign, 30 clients, you're going to sign 10 clients when 50 people show up, right? Like, you want to have those numbers down because that's how you grow. That's how you focus on one thing and you elevate your business. And like, just imagine if you went from maybe where you're at now, because I've been there, where you're like looking at all these different things, all these different strategies, wondering how to do things. And then you just decided, no, I'm just going to tear this thing down. I'm going to get it done until it works inside of my business. I'm going to optimize it. I'm going to do it a lot. And then I'm going to give it to somebody else to do. And that's how these companies and how these coaching businesses are able to hit their $1 million years so much quicker. That's how some people hit 6 figures in 6 months and some people don't, is they take one thing and they tackle it like nobody's business. Whenever I was selling 9 to Freedom, when it made it 6 figures for me, the first 6 figures, that was it. One program. Who was it for? Service providers who wanted to start landing clients consistently, whatever that meant for them. It wasn't like a 5K month or anything. Like, what does consistency look like for you? That's what we're going to work to get. And then the model was live launching it. So every 3 months I would live launch it. And by committing to that model and selling in the DMs and selling on sales calls, I know I said one conversion method, but they kind of work together, right? You sell in the DMs to get them on the sales call. I committed to that method and that got me results. And then now we can scale from there and try other things. And so I guess, like, when it comes to finding your methods, it's going to take some time and reflection for you to make decisions about what you like doing and what you don't like doing. But it's also going to it's going to take you drawing a clear line in the sand of what you want and what you don't want, and saying that for 90 days, for a year, you are not going to get distracted by all the other things you could be doing, because you could do anything and it could work. I'm real with you. Like, there's so many good strategies online. There's some people who give crap advice, I will not lie, but there's so many good strategies online. Like, pick one, but pick one for real and don't get distracted and commit to it. Cause that's really what's been able to help me grow. And I'll be real, like, I could have grown faster if I would have just taken that advice. And I'm like, I'm doing good. Like, business is great. But like, I've been on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and they've all grown amazingly. And my email list is huge. But I always am like, well, how much bigger could it be if I just really dedicated my all to TikTok? I have a client who dedicated her all to TikTok. She's like, Instagram sucks. I'm never going to be on Facebook. I'm going to dedicate my all to TikTok. Every single one of her clients comes from TikTok. I think anybody could sign clients on TikTok. I think anybody could sign clients on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. It just comes down to, are you willing to focus your time on one thing? Because it's the one thing that's going to allow you to find your own as a business owner and already set yourself up with that clear line of success, where you can't get distracted by what people are saying, because you already determined before you looked for guidance, before you looked for support, what it was going to be. And I know if you're a new business owner, you might be like, well, like, how do I know where that line is or how to decide that one thing? 90 days, make one decision for 90 days, see how it goes. Time is unlimited, right? Like, we're not in desperation mode. The world is abundant. Like, we have time. We have this laboratory that we get to be in and play in. And 90 days is all you need to figure some of this stuff out. And then the last thing I'll say, if anybody has questions, drop them in the chat box about this. But then the last thing I'll say is, like, there's kind of like 3 ways that your business could go, right? There's the people who burn out, right? Like, they try a million different things. They never work for them. And they just burn themselves out, spinning their wheels, showing up on all the platforms, trying all the conversion methods, trying to sell to all the people, never getting results and feeling really frustrated. There's the people who burn up, right? Maybe they're doing the same thing that person that burnt out did, but they do it a little bit better. So they explode, their business explodes. They think they have all the best strategies, but they burn up and it dies out really fast, right? So they have this huge month, and then it goes away. And they're like, okay, I got to go really hard again on all the platforms. And then you have the people who burn on like a candle, right? Like, they're lit forever. They're just going and going and going. And they're going and going and going because they've learned how to balance that energy. They've learned how to decide to stay committed to one thing at a time, to not get distracted. No one's going to dump fire on or gasoline on their flame and make them go really crazy, but then they got distracted, so they fell off. No one's going to shut them down because they're just confused by all the methods, right? Like, they go on and on and on. So hopefully this helps you kind of start to navigate how you can find confidence as a coach. And there are a lot of methods out there. There are a lot of different ways to be successful in business. And I really believe if you just commit to one way and figuring out how to make it work, it will work. But again, it has to be one thing at a time, one market, one offer, one platform, one conversion tool. And I say that lightly because I'm someone who is using Facebook and email and Instagram and sometimes TikTok, but it's really about where your priorities lying. And so when I think about okay, I tell my clients this strategy: good, better, best. That's how you can plan your week. What is good enough to get done this week? What's a little bit better? What's best week ever? My good list is always my one things. I'm going to make sure I sell my one offer to my one client on one platform that I am prioritizing with my one conversion tool. That is the main focus. And then if I have extra time, maybe I'll show up on Instagram. If I have extra time, maybe I'll post some TikToks. If I have some extra time, maybe I'll do a bonus intuitive business readings for a month for fun, because that's fun for me, right? But we want to make sure your baselines are covered. And so when it comes to finding your confidence as a business owner, you have to decide what that baseline is. And that's not the easiest thing in the world, but I really think it comes down to experimenting and then assessing what worked, what felt good. And even if it didn't work, what are you willing to invest your time in improving without any other noises and people coming in to tell you what you should be doing? What is it at your core that you want? And that really takes flexing your intuition and trusting yourself. I mean, even just yesterday, I saw something and I was like, that's a great idea. I think that's a sign that I should focus on that model. I should design my model this way. And then I watched something else today and I was like, oh no, I made that decision because the result looked good. But actually, when I think about how I feel when I use that model, it's not good. I don't like it. And so even in the past 2 days, I've thought about my own business model and the conflicting advice. So I'm with you guys. It's hard out there, but trust yourself and just just trust yourself as a business owner, and you have to make decisions. That's really what it comes down to. So hopefully this helps. If you're watching this live or on the replay, please share one takeaway you got, one valuable thing you got out of today's little chat with me. I would love to read those in the comments. And then if you are somebody who is a coach who wants to learn how to grow with both one-on-one coaching and group coaching, and you want to learn about how maybe you can focus on one specific model, just drop down in the comments, coach, and maybe you and I can brainstorm a plan to see what's going to work for you when it comes to use and what you're working with. So coach down below if you want my support. And then one takeaway, whether you're watching live or replay, I would love to hear. That's it for me. I am clocking out for the day, and I hope everyone has a fabulous